You're making a face.
Just this.
No, I didn't read it. Do you want to read it for our listeners?
No. I don't.
That's the
We're
kind
gonna
of
focus
face
on the beer.
That's kind of the face that you make when you have something from Flying Dog Brewery for this. Give it a shot. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Keith, and we are AboutBeverages.com. And the beverage we're about today is the Snake Dog IPA from Flying Dog Brewery out of Frederick, Maryland. We haven't seen anything from this brewery.
Frederick Frankenstein?
Frederick?
It's Frederick. Sorry.
We haven't seen anything from this brewery in a while. I guess maybe it hasn't been available.
Yeah, I can't say. I
Arizona?
don't usually look for it.
I haven't, but I will say that when I saw it, I know you bought this, but I
did.
Had seen them sort of recently, and I was like, oh yeah, forgot about them.
Yeah, they were making a huge push. Like I'd gotten a couple emails from it was either Total Wine or Bevmo or one of the other giant liquor stores.
Right.
One of the other, and it was like back to Arizona, limited time when it's gone.
Right.
It's gone. It was this whole big push. I was like, Flying Dog, we have Flying Dog. In my head, I was like, I've never known that it went away, but apparently it did, or was scarce at some point, because now you walk in and it's like cases of it everywhere. So I don't know if they're trying to make some new push into the market or what is going on exactly. Because they had about 4 or 5 different types.
And Total Wine is based in Maryland. That's where they started, right? Total Wine, isn't it?
I'll go with that.
I believe that's where they started. And I thought at one time Flying Dog had breweries in Colorado and Maryland. I thought.
Are we wrong? Oh,
and
that's a different segment.
we'll have to look that up. But I thought that I remembered them, having, and so maybe that's why maybe they consolidated, and maybe that's why it was gone. I honestly don't know, but sort of like you, and we have had 1 or 2 Flying Dog beers?
I believe we've had 2. I happened to look at, because I bought this one. I also looked at, they have a, a Belgian IPA. I looked at that because I usually like that style quite a bit. And I saw that, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, I think we've had this one before. And it was the Raging Bitch, which we had done before in 2010. I looked back, and definitely, palates changed and everything like that.
Right.
But we did not like it very much. You were kind of like, it's okay, and I didn't like it at all.
And but like you said, back at that time, that's when you weren't really a big IPA.
Yeah, I think that was maybe just
fan.
as I was really starting to get into beers and that kind of, like I said, because, and at some point, I've thought about this, and I've had it mentioned to me that we should do some sort of almost like, here are good beers to start you into the foray of either IPA or a certain style.
Right.
Like where because
right.
you and I like some really big beers, but that would not be the first one. If someone's never had a stout or whatever,
right.
that would not be the one to start with.
Right.
But that's another topic. But anyway,
right.
And so at that time, I was probably not as much of a huge. I loved beer, but just not an IPA fan because of like everything to me tasted a little metallic or whatever. And that was one of the notes that you had. I said I wished it had a little more malt because it was a little dry. Da da da.
Right.
But yeah, so they had that one, and I was like, oh, we've already tried that one before. I'm like, well, I'll get this one because they had their pale ale, they had that one, they had their IPA. They're calling this one this is their big hoppy monster, their 60 IBU.
Well, I even know, like at Trader Joe's, there was a time, sometime between 2007 and 2010, we carried them. I remember down at when I worked at the store on Campbell. And we had at least 1 or 2 of theirs. So, so I know, we know they were available. We've had them here before, but it's sort of been reintroduced to us. So we're kind of a little bit like, oh, we didn't realize they weren't.
And they've got all
just kind of like Speakeasy. Those beers, I think those from San Francisco, those weren't available here for a while, and now those have come back within the last year as well. So I don't know. It could be a distribution thing. Then, yes. Right. It very well could be. So.
It's like I said, they've always had the artwork from I'm forgetting his name. It's always they have all the stuff that's Gonzo.
Hunter S. Thompson.
Thank you, Hunter S. Thompson.
That's
like
right.
his drawings, and like they've got a lot of influence from him. Like they've had beers of his stuff, and like I said, their marketing is kind of on that wavelength as well. It's
right.
something that, like I said, kind of funny, kind of out there, just kind of different. So, so that's what we were. I don't know if we mentioned $9.99 for the 6-pack.
Okay.
Like I said, this is there. I thought, well, try them again for the first time. And
7.1%.
7.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever actually had this one, right?
I don't think so. Like I said, I remember trying a couple of their other odder ones. Maybe we had their porter or their. That was what? Didn't we have one of their porters or something? I have to look in the archives for us. Let us know.
Help
Go
us
to the
out.
website, aboutbeverages.com.
Help
Go
us
to the
out.
website, aboutbeverages.com.
That's a lot of beers ago.
Did you want to read? There's a wonderful little quote on here. Did you want to read?
No, I'll let people read that.
All right. They can find it out for themselves.
Oh, yeah. Let's let that be part of the mystery.
That's part of the mystery.
And intrigue.
Of what Anna Stedman said about this beer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Or about just in general.
Just in general.
Oh, maybe that was specific
friendship.
to this. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Whoa, that was glass. That is clear glass.
Clear
that you can see through. But then just a nice
copper.
orange copper.
Yeah.
Actually, like brand new copper penny. Like then they're a little bit more shiny. Like
I know you like that one.
I do. I like copper penny. Yeah. You always used
a little
to
more orange in there, though. I think.
Okay.
Because copper pennies can almost have that pinkish.
Can they have a copper color?
Copper. Yeah, pink copper.
Little pink copper for you and me.
Thank you, John.
John Mellencamp.
Savory.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like I get a little bit of fruit, but it's like a 70-30 kind of blend. Like I get mostly savory at first, and then at the very end I get a little touch of fudge. A touch of fudge. No,
yeah, it's.
I get a little touch of a little orange, maybe something like that. At the very end.
I'm only getting the savory, so you
Okay.
must be. You're more in tune.
Or it could just be I could be grasping at things.
Yeah. No.
But no, I definitely totally agree on the savory. That's what comes out first. It's that savory.
A little bit of malt. I get a little malt too there.
Yeah, a little malt sweetness in there. There's like a little metallic aroma in there. I didn't want to say it, but it's totally that. Like there's.
You're gonna do a flashback.
Yeah.
And then go back to our.
Yeah,
actually, it's not a video. It'd just be audio.
That would just be
You'd have to put
audio.
it with like.
Yeah, that's why it was really handy. Your tasting notes at that time. It was a good solid paragraph of information. We had a little less
Used to be better at that. Yeah, I gotta get more back into it. Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, there is a little something in there, and if it's mostly Maryland, that's kind of what you get. That East Coast IPA tends to be a little more on the.
The East Coast style is more.
It's more
malt.
English.
Yeah, more English style. Usually, yep, not always.
Well, let's see if this snake bite goes down smooth down my throat, like it says on the side of the bottle.
Let's find out. I think your metallic part is right on there. It's there.
Yeah, it is a little bit. It's not like bothersome like it used to be probably for me.
Right.
But it's definitely there. That's probably one of the most delicious IPAs I've ever had. And I'm totally lying right now.
Oh, I was going to say. Really?
Yeah. No, it's fine. Like I said, it's actually thinner than I thought it was going to be. A little bit. It tastes kind of watery, and then that bitterness really does sit with me at the back. That
bitterness sits.
See, it's funny too. And you were mentioning this. I think it was off camera. A beer we had previously. I don't want to get into a comparison thing, but that one you mentioned, you're like, oh, this is 80 IBUs.
Did that really?
Does that really taste like 80 IBUs? And it's like, well, it just kind of depends on everything else going on. This is 60 IBUs. I would say this tastes stronger. To me.
From a bitterness standpoint, yeah.
From a bitterness standpoint, what's hanging out the back of my tongue, what's kind of, literally just feels like it's kind of clawing back there.
Yeah.
There's some nice initial flavor. The malt isn't too bad. It's a little refreshing in that way, but that bitterness at the back is just really
it's
too much for how light the rest of it is for me.
American IPA is what comes. You know that term, American IPA. You have East Coast, you have West Coast.
Right.
The 3-hearted or the 2-hearted ale from Bell's.
Yeah, where are they out of?
It's called in Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Just checking.
yeah, they're out of Michigan.
That's what I'm gonna start rooting for now. Tom Izzo, Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Although it's all over now by every time everyone sees this video.
It reminds me of something like that because it's not super hoppy, but it does have the bitter. I get the malt, and then I get that honestly, there is that sort of metallic sort of taste to it.
It's nowhere near as strong, but it's similar to was it Polish? That Polish porter or something like that you would have.
It started with an H, I think.
Yeah, but that one, like I said, that we had, you could really taste the water influence in that.
Yeah.
And what it did to the rest of the beer, where it had it literally was like some, like it had metal shavings in it or something. It was.
But that really, if you're looking for, from an IPA, if you're looking for that a lingering sort of bitter, that's it. That gives you that. Dries you. I mean, I'm drying out right now too.
If you're looking for lingering bitter, classic kind of East Coast English style IPA, I think this is fine. Like I said, it's not super flavorful.
Right.
The savory comes through a little bit.
Yeah.
And like I said, and it's a little dry. I like I said, I think that part's fine. It's just not for me.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I have 5 more of them. So I'll have to find out a way to make them for me.
Well, what could you do with that? You could cook with it.
Yeah, you could cook with that.
Cook some brats or something.
Yeah.
Or
if you want it to be a little dry and a little metal.
It might cook out.
No, I think it's fine. Like I said, I will obviously I'll drink the rest of these. I said,
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping for this to be like a turnaround since it was all back, but I kind of almost feel slightly less probably strong as I did in that previous podcast, but similar to that the styles that they make are not for me.
Just not our particular glass of IPA.
Yeah. But like we've always talked about too, maybe everything we've said, you think that sounds awesome. Well, then this one is for you.
Right.
We don't always
tell us why we don't get this beer. Hey, you guys, you're missing the point, or here's what they were going for with this. And,
I think we get that part though.
Well,
I get like if this is what they're going
I think
for,
I do too.
I think it's not like it's bad. The craftsmanship behind it is fine. The end goal that they were going for is not to my style that I want to drink.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Yeah, that's not what I'm looking for.
But what we hope everyone is looking for, you set me up perfectly, is AboutBeverages.com.
Yes.
That is the place where you can find the tasting notes for this beer as well as where it hits on our recommendation scale. And while you're there, definitely check out, as we mentioned, we have tried at least one, maybe a couple others of their beers in the past. You can go ahead and look at those as well as many other things that we have tried lately. Some beers, some spirits, lots of different things. We're branching out. Maybe we'll get to some coffee at some point. A little something else tasty. Yeah, because we're not just about alcoholic beverages, even though that's kind of how we've skewed a lot lately.
We used to do sodas.
Actually, I get a lot of comments. People like it when we've done the Ramune sodas a couple times. I thought that was very funny. Like I said,
although I'm kind of turned off of the Ramune. The last one we had, it really...
I can't even remember what it was.
It was grape.
Grape, and it did not.
Yeah. Oh God.
At all.
It was. Yeah. The best part about it was just opening it.
Well, because it's always kind of scary. I always think the bottle's going to break.
The little marble in there. Yeah, that's fun.
But whether we like it or not,
you should give it a shot.